Thank you so much for the follow, bees. I really appreciate this. And Silu HS, I really appreciate that. Thank you for
Hey,
the
Destruct,
follow.
Ica, Phoenix.
Okay, so Jacob, can you confirm that you had some food?
I can neither confirm nor deny that I've had some food,
Please eat something.
but I might be able to confirm that I will be eating some food while we do this.
Okay, please. So Jacob didn't eat today, guys.
Yeah, I'm doing my best Heart Queen impression.
So, I hope you do. So you have food in front of you, so you're gonna be able to eat.
I don't have food in front of me as of
Okay,
yet.
okay. Before we start, go get some.
No, I'm gonna order something. I'm gonna
Okay,
give
okay,
myself a full to eat, so
okay.
don't
So
worry.
I'm starting with white wine. It's Xarello from Spain. It's really good, and olives. So it's like big, gigantic green olives with garlic inside. They are so delicious. Amazing olives here. And then after the white one, I will have this red one here. Yeah. I tasted it yesterday and it was super good. So I'm very excited for it. So it's a French wine. It's called La Paire. So yes, it goes with like the red team of today. Okay. Hi, Tarantillagram. Hi, how are you?
How's it going, Graham? Welcome.
I,
And then Tequila Destruct.
you see, Tarantillagram also just say hi to Jacob. No one says hi to me.
They gotta get their highs into me when they can. They're few and far between these days.
Yeah,
The
what?
avocado did survive, Phoenix. It survived and made it home.
But Jacob doesn't own a shark costume, unfortunately. And if he did, he would be a left shark. Because you're on the left side of the screen.
Which makes you the right shark.
Mm-hmm.
Good to know. Alright.
Telegram, thanks for saying hi. I appreciate that. Iris, hello, 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 hello.
Hi, Mom. Welcome.
Phoenix. Okay, guys, let's start. Let's start this. Um. So how we're gonna work is that, um, Jacob is here to ask me question, and I will answer the question about all the cards. So you're gonna need to have your stream open so you see which card I think, Jacob.
Yeah. Well, I also have the card list up, so. But yes, I have your stream open.
Okay.
Um,
So we're gonna start with Conch Call, which is kind of like a really special name. It's a card that I've tried in theory crafting in Wild and I liked, especially with like OTK spell Quest Hunter. That was quite cool to do the Boomska one that Ulti gave us, the list that Ulticon gave us. So I've used that, and it was quite fun to use. Um, so it's a hunter card. And so, what question do you have for me about this card, Jacob?
well, you did have experience playing it, so I guess the question is, because the only time you're ever really going to see this card be relevant, most likely, is if there's a specific Naga you want to draw. Drawing a spell if you're going to use a card like this, you want to narrow down what your options are so you guarantee the specific draw. That's usually why cards like this are useful, where they target drawing a specific card. There's not really a lot of direct tutor effects in Hearthstone where you can draw a specific card out of your deck. So having played it, do you feel like that there are, maybe in Standard as well, specific Nagas or spells that you want to target that you can build decks around, which I guess you had success with Ulticon's deck?
Probably school teacher.
I mean, you theoretically could go infinite with school teacher. Well, not infinite because you don't have that many Nagas in your deck, but you could draw school teacher and then discover Conch Shell for the 1/1.
Super Ninja, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. I think we played each other this week, Super Ninja. Okay, so that's a good first card. I would say I'm not that impressed about the graph of this one. I think it's a bit on the... I like the blue of it, but I think I would have liked to see a little more oomph to it.
Well, do you know what a conch is? I guess would be a good starting point.
It's like the shell,
right?
The I don't know how to explain it in English, but the big seashell.
Yeah, so the conch is actually the creature that lives in the shell, but yes, the shell, the card's referring to the giant shell. Typically, you say like you can put your ear up to it and you can hear the ocean in it from the wind in the spirals of the shell. Yeah, I mean, it would have been interesting to kind of focus a little more on that part of the artwork.
Well, that's the thing. It would have been cool that it would like be a little bit more shiny.
So, and that's, I don't ever play Hearthstone with the sound on anymore. I think streaming kind of got me out of that habit. I don't know about you, if you usually play with music, right? So you don't have the sound on either.
Exactly.
So we kind of miss out on voice lines. And on top of that, I always wish that they would have like sound effects at times. Like instead of having a voice line for a card, like I feel like a card like this would actually have like a specific conch sound that you could have when you play the card, which would make it a little more interesting.
So smuggling is like HSS sound?
Yeah, I know. I get made fun of for that all the time, where people are like, oh, like they make inside jokes about it, and I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about because I don't play with the sound on at all.
And also thank you so much for the follow, Kifartudo. I really appreciate that. Welcome.
Yeah, well, Graham, I agree.
I had fun and wild with it though.
Yeah, I think this probably, if they continue to print Nagas in the upcoming sets, will become more useful going forward. And we'll look at some of the Nagas that you could potentially get with this and kind of give a better understanding of when this card might be useful. But yeah, like in Arena for this, it would be a little difficult to really... I mean, drawing 2 cards for 3 mana is still pretty good. That's fine in Arena. But the odds of you drawing a Naga and a spell are pretty low in Arena, just because you're going to end up with so few of those anyway in your deck, and then you have to make sure you draw this first and have the time to play this. Usually you want to draw cards later on in the game. Early on, you want to press for board advantage. So this feels like more like you were playing a combo-oriented deck, where this effectively allows you to play with 28 cards in the deck, because this one just draws into the cards that you need for your combo.
Okay, so Gamazork, thank you for the follow, and Tsunami Joke, thank you for the follow. I really appreciate that. Welcome, guys. Well, okay, so I think that we had some good. There's lots of cards, so let's jump to the second one.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not in order?
Are you just on Play Hearthstone's website?
Why does it...
Oh, weird, yeah. Why isn't it in order?
It's not in order. Super weird. Anyways, okay. So, oh my god, thank you so much for the sub, Krish King. I really appreciate that. Welcome. Okay, so Harpoon Gun. It's the new weapon for Hunter. After your hero attacks Dredge, if it's a beast, reduce its cost to 2. So for everyone that doesn't know what is Dredge, you take the card at the bottom of your deck and you put it up top, on top of your deck. So it's really, really cool if you're able to combo it with something you know that at the bottom of your deck. So playing with it in theory crafting last week made me realize that there's lots of synergy with the cards from this set about putting something on the bottom and like bringing it back on top. But the only thing is that you need to remember, especially when you do the dynamic and you don't draw it right away, and you don't want to dredge too much of your cards also. So what do you think, Jacob?
Yeah, dredge is kind of a tough mechanic to build around. You know, we both worked on the decks that you were brought to the theory crafting, and what I noticed going through the cards was that there's a lot of powerful cards that get put at the bottom of your deck. There's not a lot of dredge. So the cards that get the cards that we'll see later that have effects that put stuff at the bottom of your deck, the back end, the card that you put at the bottom, tends to be really powerful. The front end tends to be kind of weaker, which is the way they balance the cards out. The problem is there's so few dredge mechanics that it doesn't work as well synergistically as I was hoping to like always have the opportunity to pull that card from the bottom, which is a good thing. Like, you don't want it to be that consistent because the back end of the cards tends to be incredibly strong. But when you were playing them and you had some of the decks like the Murloc deck that had a dredge card, or the Pirate Rogue that had dredge, how consistent did you find, or even the Buff Druid one that I really wanted to make work with that, which we'll see later, how consistent did you find being able to dredge up the card that you shuffled at the bottom, or even making sure that you get that order where you had the shuffle first and then the dredge second?
I think that playing the Buff Druid was the most, it was the easiest one to get the dredge, like to get the really good card, and then that's 1 mana to buff everything in your hand, put 1 card at the bottom, and then you dredge on turn 3, and so you get it on turn 4. It was kind of like, it was really, I feel it was consistent. The only problem is having the card that all the decks were playing, which is like the Finley, the new Finley. Everyone is playing it, and it's just like you want to play it, but it mess up your dredge, like your card, like the mulligan guide is a bit difficult when you play that in your first turn. Your end needs to be bad.
Yeah.
And also,
and
thank you for the follow.
Want to play Finley right away though.
Walbo, it's Voodoo, Espiro. Thank you for the follow, guys. I really appreciate that.
I like Finley is kind of your third dredge effect, even though it doesn't say dredge. That's effectively what it's kind of there to do. So you shuffle something to the bottom, and then you wait, and then Finley when you're ready to draw it. But Finley's kind of weird in that sense. I was hoping to kind of see the interaction with, when again we'll see some of these cards later, with the Rogue one, where Finley just replaces your hand. It doesn't actually draw the cards, I don't think. So I don't know if it's going to trigger draw mechanics or how exactly.
It doesn't trigger draw mechanics. I've tried it with my OTK Warlock, and like I had the weapon and it didn't discount the cards.
Right. Kind of like Secret Passage in the same way.
Exactly.
It doesn't actually draw the cards. So Harpoon Gun, I agree. There's a couple different things here. For one, like it's a 3-mana 3/2 weapon, which is just Fiery War Axe. So that's always going to be playable. That on its own is a perfectly fine 3-drop. The dredge effect after your hero attacks dredge, so you're going to get 2 dredge effects off of that, which is a bonus already, because dredge is effectively like a slightly weaker tracking, and tracking was always good to play. Like, you're never sad when you drew it, regardless of when you drew it throughout the game. So being able to sift through your deck and try to focus your draws, especially early on, to try to match out your curve, this card is going to be like an auto include in any hunter deck. Especially like face hunter decks, you're getting 3 mana, deal 6 damage, and then fix your draws for 2 turns, and then you get a bonus if it's a beast, reduce its cost by 2. So you could effectively get 4 free mana out of this. This card looks incredibly strong.
I agree. I agree 100%. And thank you for the follow, Plum Cake. I appreciate that.
And in a similar vein to Graham's point, in Arena, this card is incredible as well. Like Fiery War Axe was already a fine weapon to get. Now you're going to get potential extra value out of it. Anytime you lump a bunch of effects into a card that's already statted well, you're going to see it get played a lot. So I'm excited to get to play this. I think that cards like this help mid-range decks more, which is what's been sorely lacking in Hearthstone for the last year. It's been all aggro and OTK. So kind of getting towards that more mid-range or control where you can play a bigger beast now. So we haven't seen some of the beasts from this set, but something like, and I always call it Mama Bear, but Mountain Bear, is that what it's called? The 5/7 mana 5/6 that when it dies you get the 2/4s. Like getting that for 5 mana is insane. You play this on turn 3, hit in. If you happen to hit that and reduce its cost by 2, now you go turn 4, you draw it. You can even coin it out the next turn. And so just getting that ability to put good stats on the board in those 4, 5, 6 turns hopefully will kind of shift the style of play a little bit back towards more board-oriented play.
Definitely. Okay, oops, next card, and we need to like... Thank you so much for the follow, Witcher Flux. I really appreciate that. Walbo, hello, welcome. Okay, so third card for Hunter, it's Urchin Spine. And I must say that I really like the name. Urchin is amazing in pasta. Everything related to food, guys. Got my heart.
I'm glad you want to eat the poisonous one.
So your spells this turns are poisonous. So I think that this is a pink card. It's a 1 mana pink card. I think it could be very interesting to play it in Quest Hunter with especially when there's minion on the board. So what do you think?
Yeah, so this and Stefanovic just gave you some good advice for how to keep it from shifting from random card to random card. But I think that this card is interesting. I know that the Quest Hunter was using was a Professor, I think, something or other. The 3/4 that makes your spells poisonous. So that definitely, like, this gives that similar synergy of giving you the option to board clear effectively with your cheap hunter spells. Professor Slate, yeah, there you go. Thanks, Phoenix. But also synergizing with your hero power, because now every time you cast a spell, it refreshes. So this is also useful later on to be able to get that extra 2 damage. I do think that Slate's a little stronger just because they were running... you're able to pull that out of your deck with was it Vandar or Trekthar? This is how much I've played Standard recently. Whichever one is the 4 mana that summons the cheaper minions. And a 3/4 body for 3 is also just a little better than a 1 mana spell that does nothing, because if you draw this and you don't need to use the poisonous, this card is effectively useless, whereas the 3 mana 3/4 at least puts pressure on board, can get extra damage in. So I don't see this really replacing Slate in that deck anytime soon. Outside of a deck like that, I don't really see this ever getting play, unless there was a whirlwind type effect that deals 1 to all, so you could pair these two. Problem with cards like this is, like, when you don't have any useful effect outside of comboing with something else, it's very dangerous to play a card like this, because if you draw it and you don't have an effect for it, it's just a wasted draw. So So yeah, I mean, you might see this as a replacement for a bit in Quest Hunter, but I wouldn't be surprised if this doesn't really see much play. You already haven't like removal cards are already typically effective without having to give something poisonous. If it made your spells poisonous permanently, maybe this would see play. But for a one-turn effect, I don't think it's strong enough.
Okay.
But you didn't get to play this at all, right? You didn't. Did
I
you see
didn't.
anybody playing this?
No one played it.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, what I was thinking about was more like if you have a card like load and duck, load and
Lock
the
'em up.
luck and load, and so like to get more spells, I feel it's like a good generator.
Yeah.
Thank you for the
So
follow, Polu. I really appreciate that. But yeah, that's what that's what I thought. But I agree with you. Like that's the only thing I was thinking that could be useful, like with load and duck, not luck and load, and then you generate like there's a board minions, and then it's easier to remove them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think something like bolus shot works really well with this as well. Anything that does some sort of cleave damage. If poison, the one way that this would work well is if poison was effectively like honorable kill. So like with the Dragonbane shot, if every time you killed something with Dragonbane shot, it would give you another one, then I think you might be able to see this be playable where you have a consistent card you want in your deck and a 2-card combo that wipes the board. But there's no like second card to pair along with this that effectively does what you want, which is clear the entire board.
I agree. Let's move on to Hydra Lodon, which is a Colossal Minion. It's a first Colossal Minion. So it's a hunter one, 7 mana, 5/5 beast. So it's good. It's a beast, a new beast. It's always nice to have cards that are minion types added to the pool. I like that.
Yeah.
And one thing I must say is that I learned today that Colossal Minion are not in the pool when you evolve or devolve minions. So that is something I learned today.
Really?
Yeah.
So you can't devolve or evolve into them.
Exactly.
I guess that makes sense.
Because of the buddy.
What did you say?
Because of the buddy.
Right. Yeah, it just would create very weird programming board states. So like, because of the way Colossal works and not supposedly, but the way that it's intended is that any time this minion is summoned from anywhere, you get the buddies. If you evolved into it and then you'd have to spawn the buddies in after an evolve, which just like timing wise doesn't really make sense. Yeah, I can understand why they're not.
But for me, it was interesting to like to know that before playing. We did play a bit of Colossal Minion in theory crafting, but to understand that before because it's kind of like it's very like subtle. Like I think most people don't know it already, but yeah.
I found out about it, so I don't know that anybody knows.
So I was talking to people in Hearthstone, and yeah, it's very interesting to know that it's not part of it. So so at least it's good that it's a new beast, but we still need to consider this in the evolve or devolving decks that are out there. So yes. If we talk about this card in particular, and Colossal, like if you want to, I mean, I was able to play a bit with Colossal and to understand it, but if you want to give your opinion on Colossal also, since it's our first card that is.
Sure. Yeah. So it's a fun new mechanic. And just to go back just briefly to touch upon what you're talking about with the fact that it doesn't work with evolve or devolve, Hearthstone always has stuff like this where they introduce new mechanics, new cards, and hold on one sec. Food's here.
But yes, I definitely agree. Like, it's good that we know it in advance because it would be pretty broken. But I mean, I didn't even think about it. So
Okay, so yeah, so introducing new mechanics, there's always weird interactions that we're not aware of and that we kind of stumble across the way. Like, I think one of my favorite ones is Infectious Sporling, and that it's like the only card in Hearthstone that doesn't say like turn it into a copy of a card or transform. It literally just makes it another Infectious Sporling, and the way that that interacts with certain things is unique to all of Hearthstone. So there's always going to be stuff like that, like this with the evolve mechanic, where you would never expect something to either work out a certain way or interact a certain way, and you kind of learn that as you go along. So it's kind of cool that Colossal breaks some of the rules. So you have Battle Cry, which is what you kind of expect Colossal to be, but it turns out for Colossal, it doesn't matter where it summons from, that it always triggers the Colossal Effect. So if you use, like, as we talked about the other day, that if you get to resurrect it from something in Priest, let's say, or even Hunter has a card that allows you to resurrect a beast that died that turn, that it'll get the Colossal appendages back regardless. It's not a battle cry effect, it's just a permanent effect. So if someone dirty rats it, you're going to get them. So it's cool to have new mechanics like that get to play a little differently. It opens up different design aspects for deck building, where you can use it, how you can take advantage of it. As you were playing the Boomzuka deck, Boomzuka works with this in the sense that you get the Colossal appendages after you summon the Hydralodon. So yeah, I mean, this looks pretty strong for, again, that mid-range Hunter. It combos well with the weapon that we saw earlier. As Spaceman pointed out, like, yeah, you can get this with Dredge and then coin it out on turn 5, which turn 5 mana 5/5 that gets you 2 Hydralodons with Rush that then spawn 4 more. That's a huge board swing for turn 5. So it's exciting. It's a great board clear for Hunter, which Hunter typically doesn't have, which kind of factors into what we were talking about, the Urchin Spine. This looks like I'd rather work on a synergy to play this and use this as my board clear than trying to synergize with the spell aspect of things. So I definitely expect this to see play in any sort of mid-range Hunter deck. You're never really sad to draw this or play this.
And the text that goes with it is so funny. I'm gonna read it to you guys. Deep beneath the waves, this Hydra grew to incredible size based on a steady diet of literally anything that crosses its path.
One thing that I miss in Hearthstone, like in card games like this, having played Magic previously for a long time, is the flavor text like that. Where in Magic, the cards have that text printed on the card, so you always were immersed in either the storyline behind things or, like, yeah, funny comments like this. And I never even knew Hearthstone had flavor text until I was using Deck Tracker, I think is what it was. That when you'd hover over cards, the Deck Tracker would pop up with the flavor text. And I got so confused the first time it happened and was like, what is this? And then, like, I realized all of these cards have this flavor text built into them, but I don't think you can really see it in the Hearthstone gameplay unless you go into the actual card collection. And then when you click and, like, inspect the cards, it shows you the flavor text. But I kind of miss that from the game perspective of, like, while you're playing the game, getting to see the flavor text for the cards. But there are some really funny ones.
Okay. Let's move on to Naga's Pride, which I really like the name of the card. Summon 2/2 Lionfish. If you played a Naga while holding this, give them +1/+1. I really like this synergy of the Naga and, like, while holding the card, you need to do something else, or you need to play a Naga while having the spell if you wanted to buff. So I think there's like it's really different than what we've seen recently. So I think definitely like it definitely brings a different flavor, and it's gonna make the game fresh and entertaining. What do you think?
So similar question, and I was hoping we could have kind of built a Naga-oriented deck for the theory crafting, but Wild just the deck power is so high across the board that it's hard to build something that's got like one step down, and I just didn't really feel like there was a great. I think Priest might have been the closest I could have come to building a Naga-oriented deck in Wild. Did you see anybody playing some sort of Naga synergy as the primary focus of the deck?
I don't think so. But
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't played against against a lot of people.
So the challenge with something like this, where you can only gain the bonus while having this in your hand, is it makes your mulligans that much more important, but it also makes the likelihood of like pulling something off like this much more difficult. So not that 3 mana summon 2/2 lionfish is fine. 2/2 lionfish, that's perfectly viable on its own. 3 mana summon 2/3/3s is incredible. I mean, everyone was running around in the Maestra Rogue with the 3/3 that duplicated himself. So 3 mana 6/6 is about as good as you're gonna get. But in order for this to be played on curve, you need to guarantee a 1 mana or 2 mana Naga, and also guarantee this be in your hand. So I don't know how consistent that's going to be, and that's really what's going to be the determining factor of how playable this is. If there are good, and you'd probably need like 8, I would say. You probably need 8 total 1-drops and 2-drops in your deck that are all Nagas to make this viable to play.
Selling and Yet, thank you so much for the follow. I really appreciate that.
Which part of the problem in Hunter is most of Hunter is designed for beasts. So how are you going to find the room for enough Nagas to support this while also trying to, balance out the beast package that tends to be the primary focus of Hunter? A lot of these cards do feel like they're printed for this entire year, that as these next couple sets come out and they build upon that Naga creature type, you probably will see these more playable. And there is 1 2-drop coming up that we'll see later, a neutral 2-drop, that does, I think, really help the Naga synergy, and then as well as the beast synergy. So it's not to say that this isn't completely viable, but I don't think that to start off with you're going to see a lot of Naga decks like this. You're going to see more Beast Hunter than Naga Hunter.
Yeah,
so,
as Phoenix said.
Sadly, I think this is, you're not going to see this played too much early on.
Yeah, as Phoenix is saying, I think it's a worse petting zoo.
Sort of. The problem with petting zoo is playing secrets early isn't very good. Like, you don't want to play a freezing trap on turn 2 because you typically want to freezing trap something that's bigger so that they have to spend more mana the next time. You don't want to play explosive trap on 2 because it's going to kill 1 minion. Ice trap might have been viable early just because it does slow your opponent down, but Hunter wants to fight for board. So spending turn 2 not fighting for board is pretty bad. Whereas this, you have to play a minion early in order to trigger this ability. That allows you to fight for board. So I actually probably, even though Petting Zoo has a higher upside in the long run, I actually probably would prefer Naga's Pride over Petting Zoo just because it fits Hunter's theme more of pushing board right away. If there were more secrets that like Cat Trick that summoned minions in the current meta, I'd lean more towards Petting Zoo, but just being able to continue to like evolve your board state and trigger these abilities, I think this actually might be a little better.
But you can
It remains to be
cheat.
seen.
You can cheat secret easily compared to Naga.
Yes.
In wild, for
And yeah, in
specifically
wild,
in
I would
wild,
say
like you get the
absolutely.
card that they all cost 0. You can play 3 of them, then play
Right.
Petting Zoo, and then you get a board full of trees.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's an argument. I can see that, Phoenix, definitely. Okay, that's good. Thank you for the follow, Balex Leon. I really appreciate that.
One quick note for Phoenix's comment, which is important to kind of pay attention to with these. You can't summon Naga to trigger this. You have to play them. So you can't cheat it at all. Without getting mana discounts for the cards in your hand, it's not going to activate the buff. So that is, I didn't even realize that, but it's always important to kind of look at things like that. It's played, it's not summoned for this. So
100%, 100%.
So next one, Ashran Saber.
Asheron Saber. So it's a 4 mana 3/3 with Rush and Death Rattle. So lots of things related to this card. It's a beast, so it's another beast in the rest pool. Okay, so put a Sunken Saber on the bottom of your deck. So it's another dredge card in the sense that you want to have a dredge card that goes with it to go pick it up from the bottom. So yes, what are your thoughts?
Well, this is a good example of a card that's statted poorly on the front end for what's supposed to be a better effect on the back end, and you can't really see it here, but the Sunken Saber that you put at the bottom of your deck is a 4 mana 3/3 rush, Death Rattle, summon a beast from your deck, which is a very powerful effect to be able to summon a beast from your deck. You know, you summon Hydralodon and you're going to get the Colossal +2, so that's pretty good. But the problem with this is you're effectively paying 8 mana for a 6/6 rush and then Death Rattle summon a beast from your deck. So that's like a worse I don't remember the name of the card. There was an 8 mana 6/6 that battle cried and Death Rattle to summon a beast from your deck, or summon a minion from your deck, old legendary, which never saw play. It's just too understated to really be effective. Like a 4 mana 3/3 rush, you're never going to get to remove anything on turn 4 with 3 damage. This is effectively like 4 mana, discard a card, and then you also need some sort of way to get the bottom, like, and this is where there's not enough dredge to really support it right now. Katharina Phoenix, yeah. If there were a lot of dredge, maybe you could see this be a little more playable, where if you could really guarantee drawing the second half of it. But even then, like, let's say you're running this in your deck, you're probably running 2 copies, which means the second half summons a beast from your deck. It doesn't even guarantee it summons a big beast. It could just summon the other copy of this, and then you have to go through the whole process again.
100%, 100%.
Mana 9/9 worth of rush isn't really great.
Yeah, 100%. Andrika, thank you so much for the follow. I really appreciate that. And welcome to chat. Welcome. So yeah. So I think we.
And that's a good point, Stefanovich. This does synergize with the weapon. So let's say you go weapon on turn 3, and you hold the charge, I guess, and then you play this on turn 4, trade it in. You get the saber sunk to the bottom, then you attack with the weapon, and you get this brought to the top, and then you have a 2 mana 3/3 rush that summons a beast from your deck. But in all likelihood, you'd rather probably just dredge the turn you play the weapon and get the beast you want to begin with than having to go through the process of playing 2 extra cards just to get there anyway. I don't ever see this seeing play. Even in Arena, I mean, I would never want to play this in Arena because you don't have dredge effect, so it's just a 4 mana 3/3 rush, which is awful. Yeah. Like I said, if there's more dredge effects and some to get a beast out of your deck to make this worth it, it would have to be like it's like King Crush, something game winning.
Definitely.
So yeah.
Okay, right. So exciting, guys. We have a new secret. Yay. Okay, So, emergency maneuver. So secret. When a friendly minion dies, summon a copy of it. It's dormant for 1 turn. So I think this card can be very powerful. The secret is nice, and I'm excited to see it play. I didn't get the like I had the option to use it. I didn't use it during tarot crafting because there was better secret for the situation of my board at that moment. But I'm excited to see it in play and to use it.
Yeah, this card has incredible upside, but also a lot of difficulty in actually making it work. It's going to be great to have a new secret in the secret pool. It's always helpful, because you just make it harder for your opponent to play around your secrets when there's more options like this. I saw someone do this on the theory crafting day, so I know it's stating the obvious, but it's important to point out that secrets trigger on your opponent's turn, not your own, so you can't play this, trade your own minion in, and then get your dormant copy of it, which is part of why this card is a little weaker than it first looks, because your opponent's really going to get to choose what minion dies and what you're going to get the copy of. A good example would be like, this synergizes fantastic with the Colossal Minions, so like Hydralodon. Your goal would be to trade in your Hydralodon and get the copy of that, and then you get the appendages alongside it when it comes back from being dormant, in theory, I would say, because you're summoning another copy of it. I'm assuming Colossal works with dormant. I don't actually know. That's another thing that needs to be tested out, similar to Evolve. Like, when this awakens from being dormant, do you get the Colossal appendages? Because it's technically not being summoned. Do you get them when you summon the copy, even though it's dormant? But the problem there is Hydralodon gives you appendages that you can trade the first 2 off, and then you summon 4 more. So now you've got 5 minions on board in emergency maneuvers. How do you guarantee they don't clear the 3 ones? So you got to clear the 3 ones off after that, and then have Hydralodon be your last minion, and then get your opponent to kill it in order for this to trigger. So I don't think it's as effective as it looks initially, that you're like, oh my god, I get an extra copy of this, but it's definitely incredibly strong, and you're never really going to be sad for whatever you get a copy of. And especially adding, like I said, adding it to the secret pool where it's harder for people to play around now. Is it freezing trap? Is it ice trap? You know, it just adds another layer of how do you want to try to make your attacks to figure something out.
100%. 100%.
Play. But I don't think it's like a focal point of any deck.
I just wanted to say that we're gonna have the giveaway soon, guys. So be ready. Okay, so now we have this this new spell that is probably gonna be seen play in Quest Hunter. So it's called Bard Nets. Deal 2 damage to an enemy. If you played a Naga while holding this, choose a second target. I played it and it was super strong.
Yeah.
For a white card, it's very strong.
Yes, it's. No, Stefanovic, it cannot go face twice. You have to choose a second target that's a different target, I believe. You played with it, so you could probably speak
so
more
you
to
need
that.
to pick a second target. But what's good is because I played it with the Naga that doubles your spell. So you do it twice. So you basically do 8 damage. It's a 1 mana almost Pyroblast.
Yeah, cards like this terrify me, and I was so excited when they got rid of cards like Kill Command and Standard, and they really reduced the amount of direct damage that you can deal. Just because, as we saw with OTK, it's really not fun when your opponent just kills you from their hand and you don't have any counterplay to it. So this does feel a little balanced in the sense that the second target can't be your opponent's face, so it's not like 1 mana eviscerate. But any sort of spell damage on this makes it insane. And like you said, getting the double spell If you've got, you know, a
Which I
Thalen
did, which I
double
did in
spell in
theory
there.
crafting, and I pull it off. So since
Yeah.
like I didn't play with it a lot, but every time I was able to play it, it's like whoa.
Yeah. Yeah, this is
So
absolutely an auto include in any deck.
I
1 mana
agree.
4 is already probably the strongest removal spell in the game. And the
I
fact that if it was like 2 damage to the enemy hero and 2 damage to a minion, it might be a little more balanced. But the fact that you can, if you need to, do 2 different enemies, like 2 different enemy minions, so it's 1 mana deal 4 to minions, or have that flexibility to go face, this is possibly the best removal spell Hunter's ever had. Like,
and it's real it's another one that's good against Trog, so like I feel that this is like just so good.
yeah.
Also, thank you so much for the follow, Rip Curtis, Daph Phoenix, Damordekes, Peak, and Lively. Thank you, Little Lively. Thank you for the follow, guys. I appreciate that.
And
Um,
to go back to like something that we talked about earlier with the urchin spell, where you draw at times and there's nothing to do with this, like usually that's how you balance removal spells. You make them only target minions, and then if you draw them late game, they're useless, like Overwhelm in the Quest Hunter deck. You draw Overwhelm and there's no target for it, and then all of a sudden you can't do anything with it. Here, this can always go face. That's just terrifying. Like, this card's never going to be bad.
this card is so good for a white card.
Yeah.
um, okay, this is there's still another one after this one in Hunter, and
Yep.
it's the first class we did, so
There's a lot of cards.
okay, so this one is the other legendary for Hunter that we have for this new set, and it's called Raj Naz Jan or Yan. Um, After you cast a spell, deal damage equal to its cost to the enemy hero. And yes, I saw it played in theory crafting. I think that it can be a very very powerful card. And the only thing I would say is that it's like it's difficult to include like minions in spell deck. So what are we cutting to get this in? That's the question.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that it looks a lot stronger than it feels when you play it. The one thing it has going for it is the Naga tag. So you toss this in with Conch Shell, and you're guaranteed to draw this as your 1 Naga in the deck and a spell to go along with it. That's pretty good, even if you draw this before you draw the Conch's Call. Now it's 3 mana, deal 3 damage to the enemy hero, draw a spell, which gives you that extra burst. But yeah, I mean, the problem is usually Hunter's killing you by turn 6, 5. So being able to pair this with another spell on turn 5 or 6 isn't really getting you that much extra damage. Like, let's say you pair it with Aim Shot, which is probably your best pairing. So now it's 3 mana, deal 6. If you didn't have this, Aim Shot's 3 mana plus hero power is 3 mana, deal 7. So why are you going to play an extra card that you have to pair to do less damage on 5 than Aim Shot's already going to do on its own? You'd only really need this if you either had some sort of spell combo that could kill your opponent in 1 turn, or if you didn't have enough spells in a deck to get enough burst damage in anyway. But Hunter's got plenty of burst damage, so I don't think you'll really ever see this play. You might see people experiment with it, but I think, as you said, you're going to find that when you draw it, you're kind of like, yeah, I mean, I could play it for 2 mana, 2/3, and like get 3 damage in, but why wouldn't I just hero power? And you don't really want to play this on turn 2. Like a 2 mana, 2/3 is fine. It's nothing wrong with that, but like the effect doesn't really have much use. So yeah, it's sad because it looks really cool. I honestly hope it's never playable, because if it's playable, it probably means your opponent's just OTKing you with this card, and that's just not fun. So I'd be fine if this is just a niche card.
And the text that goes with it is pretty nice. When you play the coin, he deals emotional damage.
Unless your opponent played a Cult Neophyte, in which case he deals 1 damage.
Emotional damage. That's kind of funny. Okay, so we are at the last hunter card of the new set. Twin Bow, Terror Coiled. So it's a 4/4/4 Naga. Battlecry, if you've cast a spell while holding this, your next spell casts twice. So this is probably the card in Hunter that I've seen the most play in theory crafting. Everyone was playing this card. I think there's lots of good synergy casting a spell twice. I've played it multiple times last Thursday during theory crafting. So I do think there's a real potential to this card.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for the follow, Tayduk. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, the 2 interesting things about this kind of design. Well, the first one is welcome to the coin meta. I don't think the coin has ever been more valuable than it will be in the upcoming year, because it's a free spell that activates all of this stuff. That, you know, you can keep Terror Coil in your hand without having a spell if you're on the coin, because you just have to play the coin at some point. And that's what's kind of fun about these abilities, and what's going to open up a lot of fun deck design is, while it requires you to have it in your hand, none of it is turn-based. So you don't have to play the spell the same turn in order to activate this, and you don't need to play the spell the same turn to get the cast twice. Once you've played this, it's just your next spell ever for the rest of the game cast twice. So you could even play this in like a Kazakhstan deck, where you play this early on, your only spells are the ones you get off of Kazakhstan, and then 10 turns later you just drop fireballs and you get his fireballs twice. That ability to be flexible about when you have to cast your next spell makes this card so much better, because otherwise you'd have to save this for that same turn and have the extra mana for it. Being able to just play this on curve on turn 4 and know whatever spell you cast next is going to have that effect, this card fits everything. Like, there's no deck that's not going to want to play this. So yeah, you're going to see this card run rampant everywhere. Thankfully, it's relatively decent statted, like 4 mana 4/4. It's not over statted on that, which is nice. So
I think this is gonna be, so guys, if you don't have this card first day, it's probably one card you want to try and open in your packs.
Yeah, thankfully it's a rare, so
so it's quite easily findable in packs. So the text is 2 shots, 2 kills. I like it. I like it. Okay, so now we've seen all the cards for a hunter. So let's go with Rogue. So that is the first card for Rogue, Gun Fishing. Dredge, combo, draw card. So this is very powerful in the sense that you dredge, so you choose the card that's going to be on top, and then you draw the card if you played it as a combo card. So I think that this could be a very interesting card to play. I do see a lot of potential in this card. And so the text says, rogues want me fish rogue want me fish fear me. So yes, what do you think?
Yeah, this...
And thank you for the follow, Shemodio. I really appreciate that.
This is effectively tracking for Rogue. It needs combo to activate it, but it does the same thing. It's 1 mana, discover a spell from the bottom of your deck, but RNG, like, you're pretty much discovering a card from your deck, and then combo draw it, which is what tracking does. And then this is a little better than tracking because it synergizes with all of the other cards that put stuff at the bottom of your deck. So, yeah, I mean, this card looks incredible. It's similar, like, you're never sad to draw this. Even if you just top deck it, it still allows you to dredge into something useful. So even if you can't combo with it. But having like 1 mana to be able to do this, and we'll see a card in Rogue that's going to work really well with it. I'm excited to get to play this card. It's going to allow it similarly does the same thing where you're effectively playing 28 cards in your deck now, because this just gets to cycle for a very specific card. And anytime you can narrow your total deck list down to something smaller than 30, your deck is going to be that much more efficient for it. So this card looks incredible.
I agree. I'm glad we're on the same page.
Yeah. You'll see this in every rogue deck similarly. Like, no one's not... I mean, you never don't want to play this.
Back to Own. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate this. So this card looks pretty good. We're gonna go to the second rogue card, which is a card I've been dying to talk about. Filet Fighter. Okay, so don't get distracted by the nice graphic or art design, because it is a pirate, guys. It doesn't look like it, but it is, surprisingly. So it's a new pirate that deals 1 damage. This card looks incredible. I'm so excited to play it. Everything about this card is just so sexy. The stats, the name, the art design, the battle cry. Like, this is like juicy, fruity, what we call OP.
Yeah, I mean, how far we've come from Elven Archer.
I know, right?
Talk about, you see how the game has changed, and I'm fine with it. Like, I think this is a perfectly balanced card. 1 mana, 3/1. It's very strong in aggro, but it's still got 1 health, so it's pretty easy to remove. The Og Merchants are cycling out, though, so this does kind of fill that void, at least in Rogue, for that early 1 mana ping. But now you got an Elven Archer that's a 3/1 and it's got a pirate tag, so you've got the pirate synergy for it. This is as good of an aggro card as you're going to get. So I'm stoked to see Pirate Rogue be a thing. There's a lot of fun pirate cards for Rogue and in neutrals that are upcoming. I think it'll be a fun deck to play.
And my dream is to play it in Warrior by discovering your pirate.
Yeah, or getting it off of guy with the 1 mana 1/2 that gives you a random pirate.
Yes. I don't remember his name, but yes, I definitely think about the same one. Siomun, thank you so much for the follow. I really appreciate it. So guys, I think it's time for the giveaway. If you want to be
you're
part
gonna
of
do that, I'm gonna get some water.
Yeah, good. So guys, if you want to be part of the giveaway, put red in chat right now. Go, go, go. Go, go, go. So the rules are, you need to be a follower in order to win. You need to put red in chat. And that's it. That's it. It is a bundle that we are giving away today, and it was kindly given to us by Hearthstone. So yes, by Blizzard. So yes, if you want to participate, you need to be a follower and put red in chat. I'm gonna let you guys take the time to to do it. So yes.
I'm surprised you didn't comment on the flavor text for this card since it's food related.
Yes, well, I was about to read it while people are doing the... while people are writing red in chat. What do you mean this isn't the meal you asked for? I made you a filet mignon. This is quite funny. I like the text of this one.
Yeah. Quite good.
It's a really good
Makes me
text.
want to have steak for dinner though.
So what are you eating?
Mozzarella sticks.
And?
Calamari.
2 fried food.
Yeah, well, I wanted something that was easy to munch on, and I figured I should get some calamari for the Naga theme.
Yes! Oh my god, that's so good! I like that. I really like that. Good job.
Thanks.
Okay, so I will still give a bit of time to chat to put red in chat if you want to be part of the giveaway. Go, go, go. So yes, we have 55 eligible users right now. So you have lots of chance to win. So yes. I should have done something related to like fillet fighter as a keyword. So yes, if you want to win the giveaway, guys, put red in chat. And you need to be a follower in order to win. If not, we're gonna have to redraw. And you need to be present in chat. We will give you 1 minute to say that you are here and that you want the bundle. I still see some people putting red in chat, so I will let you a bit of time to do it, guys. Maybe I should. I had some olives. I thought it would be enough, but now I'm kind of like feeling I'm missing cheese. I need cheese.
I mean, I guess there's cheese in the mozzarella sticks, so I am having some cheese.
Yes, you are. Okay. I'm gonna draw for the giveaway. Yes. Are you guys ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ah, Jera Wolf won the giveaway. Are you in chat? Are you in chat? Can you say hey so we know you're here? I'm sure he's somewhere. I mean, he's a regular, so I guess.
Yeah.
I know he's not a bot. I know he's not. Can someone message him? Poor little kitty.
Unlucky. He's not actually. He might not actually be here.
He left?
He's not in the chat list for me to message him.
How?
No.
How can you add someone? Oops. Ooh. I feel bad for him.
I mean, he knows the rules. That's one of the rules. You have to be here.
He is not in chat, guys. So we're gonna have to re-roll. That is devastating. That is devastating. I know. Poor little kitty. Okay, so We're gonna have to re-roll, guys. So if we re-roll, I'm gonna put a new word in, just to make sure that that person is in chat. So then I think we're gonna do filet fighter. Okay.
Maybe we just do fillet.
No, filet fighter.
Good luck typing that, everyone.
So there's a new keyword, guys. Filet fighter. So if you want to win the giveaway, you need to put it in chat, and it needs to be the same as written on the card. Filet fighter. So yes, if you want to be part of the giveaway, you need to put filet fighter in chat. Yeah. Let's go. So I will let you guys put filet fighter in chat, and I will get some cheese in the meantime. Go, 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 guys.
D-Struck's like, put filet mignon in chat instead. Who needs a bundle when you can get cheese instead? Maritime Max? So yeah, for those of you that are popping in and joining the giveaway, just remember you need to be a follower as well. So follow Heart Queen, type Philip Fighter in chat, and then wait for her to retrieve her cheese, and you may be the lucky winner. I keep looking to see if Jar Werewolf comes back and like starts putting that into chat as well. But they're still not here as of yet, so seems they had to leave. You too, Destruct. Which class do I look forward to trying the most? That's a good question. I honestly haven't really, mostly because we were working on the wild theory crafting for the last week and a half, so I haven't had the opportunity to really look through a standard. Pirate Rogue seems like it's going to be a lot of fun to play, so I'm excited for some of the cards for that. I would like to see a Naga deck work, so maybe Naga Priest. Demon Hunter felt a little underwhelming. I don't know, Phoenix. I'm excited to play all of them, and to be honest, I'm just excited to be done with this meta. I really, really hope that the OTK doesn't really carry over too much. It's just, I want more board-oriented combat in Standard, which all of these cards do play into, so that's exciting in that sense. Even if there are, and we've seen some and we'll see some others, some cards that scare me a little bit.
Are you guys ready for the giveaway? What did I miss, Jacob? What did I miss?
Just talking about what class I'm looking forward to play the most in the upcoming expansion.
And what's the answer?
All of them. Anything that isn't this season. No, I was saying Rogue. Pirate Rogue. I'm kind of curious about like a Naga Priest. Those are probably the two biggest ones right now for me.
People are still putting the keyword in chat.
I mean, some people are just continuing to do it over and over again. Some aren't even subtle about it.
Okay, let's check.
No, Anando, it's not case.
It is not. 65, no, 65 eligible users for the giveaway.
And 66 viewers. I can guess who's the one that isn't in that. That would be me.
You can participate if you want.
No, I'm fine. I don't need to.
Okay, are you ready, guys? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's roll. Okay. Eon. Who is Eon? Can you say hi? Oh, you're here. Nice, let me add you. Oops. I added you as a friend. Owen? Congrats, Owen. Congrats. I added you as a friend on Twitch. Can you please accept my friend request and write? Can you say hey by whisper so I can send you the the code?
Yeah, I've been in Hearthstone withdrawal the last couple weeks, not playing any arena or standard, so I'm excited to get back to arena for the next couple months and try to grind the whole new set out there. Yeah, which Phoenix, I was doing the same thing. I played more Battlegrounds in the last month than I think I've had since the game came out. Which was fun. I've enjoyed the updates to Battlegrounds, so it was a bit of a nice break, but I'm ready to get back to Arena especially. I mean, I still hit Legend and Standard every month, so
Okay.
it's not like I stop playing Standard, but...
Swift Scale, Trickster. Trickster! Is Trickster in chat? Can we say a little hi to Trickster? So, Maritimax, I decided to get warm salad. It's called like this in French, but it's like cooked salad on a cracker. On actually baguette. On roasted baguette. Okay, so it's a Naga. Battlecry, your next spell this turn costs 0. It's a 4 mana 2/2. So it looks like pretty low stat. I'm not sure about this card. What do you think, Jacob? What do you think?
It's low stats, but it's a really high effect. Your next turn, this next spell this turn costs 0. Like, you're effectively cheating 10 mana if you have a 10 cost spell. So as long as you're playing any spell that costs 4 or more, you're just adding on to whatever spell you play, summon a free 2/2. It's prep with a body. It's better and worse than prep. It's obviously better than prep in that it makes your next spell cost 0 as opposed to 2 less or even 3 less pre-nerf. But prep was already a 0 mana card. So the fact that like you just get 0 mana to get 3 mana gives you incredible flexibility. This, at least, you can't really play before turn 3 or 4. But if there's a spell you want to play on turn 3 or 4 that you'd normally only be able to play on 8 or 9 or 10, yeah, this card is nuts. Suffers similarly with what we've talked about with other cards, where it's reliant on you having the spell in your hand. And Rogue typically doesn't have a lot of super high cost spells. But we will see a couple upcoming. You know, if there's a Naga rogue deck, this is all I will include. This could be played in other decks as well. I think that there's not enough support in Rogue to make this broken yet, but you will see this have its heyday at some point and probably get nerfed. Anytime there's a 0 on any card in Hearthstone, it almost always gets nerfed at some point. 0 is a bad number in Hearthstone.
Yeah, it could be really good, but I mean, it's a rogue card. It's not like if this card was like in Mage, for example, I would see this go absolutely play with Amulet, for example. This would be like a no-brainer. But since it's rogue, I feel that it's like that's why it feels a bit more, well, a bit less OP.
Yeah, it's
In my
the
opinion.
scary thing about cards like this is they're almost guaranteed to break the game down the line, because now you can never print an expensive rogue spell, since this is always going to be a card. So one of these days down the line, they're going to print an expensive rogue spell, and someone's going to, oh, wait a second, I remember that Trickster card. Let's break Hearthstone, and then it gets nerfed.
And
That's why it's dangerous to design stuff like this, because it narrows down what you can do in the future without running into trouble.
And the text that goes with it is so funny. If you play your card fast enough, who's to say how much they cost?
That feels like the Tavern Brawl from this week.
Yes, me too. That's exactly what I felt. Okay, this is a card which I love the name, Swordfish. It is a great name for a card. All the blue in this card is just fabulous. I just want to play with it because of it's so like neat, you know, you're like, oh, such a cool card. So it's a 3-mana 2/3 Battlecry Dredge. If it's a pirate, give this weapon and the pirate +2 attack. So it is a new weapon for rogue, doom, and that synergize with pirates. What are your thoughts on it, Jacob?
My first thought is it's actually the weapon that Philip Fighter is holding in his hand. I don't know if you've noticed that. But if you go back to Philip Fighter quickly, that's actually... it shows up in another card. No, Swordfish is incredible.
Yeah, we see it's because it's a swordfish. Oh yeah, it's the same one. That you're right.
A 3-mana 2/3 weapon is okay. It's not terrible. But again, now you're getting the dredge effect, so it's going to make your draws better. And if it's a pirate, a 3-mana 4/3 weapon is insane. 3 mana, deal 12 damage, plus the pirate gets buffed, and you get to draw the pirate the next turn. It's interesting. We'll see the only real dredge synergy in Rogue doesn't actually really synergize with this card, so I'll be a little curious to see how decks kind of put those two halves together, since this you're specifically looking for a pirate. But yeah, I mean, Swordfish, I think you'll see this played in pretty much any pirate rogue deck, potentially in non-pirate rogue decks as well. If you do have like an Edwin, just for extra card draw, and you play Swordfish just to kind of give yourself some board control, get that dredge, and then every so often you hit Edwin and it's a 3-mana 4/3. But they're trending towards an aggro pirate rogue deck, and this fits everything you want in aggro pirate rogue. It's, like I said, 3 mana, deal 12, and gives you the pirate you want to draw and a bonus attack on it. So
yeah, no, it's really good. Really good. Okay, Blood in the Water. Tomb. I feel like every time I read this card, I feel that Jaw is behind me. So it's a 6-mana spell. Deal 3 damage to an enemy, and it doesn't need to be minion. Summon a 5/5 shark with Rush. So yes, fish are friends, not food. Gil Goblin on the other end. Dun.
Whoever knew that goblins lived underwater? That's news to me.
Gill
Gill goblin.
Goblin.
Yeah. I mean, is this the first shark in Hearthstone? Except it's a beast. It's not even a shark.
It's not the first
But,
shark.
um,
Oh, Zaylor, thanks so much for the follower. I appreciate that.
I don't know how impressed I am with this card. Obviously, if you combine it with the Trickster, it's pretty good. Turn 4, 5/5 rush with a 2/2 appendage and a 3 damage to a target. Like, the card like this alone makes Trickster viable, at least in some sense. It's definitely strong by itself. 6 mana, 5/5 rush, deal 3 damage. It's like kind of a mini fire elemental, or at least pre-nerf, pre-buffed fire elemental. And giving you the flexibility of kind of removing 2 targets, one with 3 damage and the other with rush, definitely helps. I don't think the fact that this can go face is really that relevant. It's definitely a nice bonus if you top deck in your opponents at 3. But it's definitely more of a board control card. But for 6 mana,
It's a bit expensive. It's a bit expensive.
Too high these days for a 6 mana like this. Sadly, this feels weak. Like,
yeah. No, I see what you mean.
We're gonna see a 6 mana rogue card upcoming that's way better than this. So
it brings us to the legendary pirate in Rogue, which is called Pirate Admiral Hooktusk. If you've summoned 8 other pirates this game, plunder the enemy. So that is the card we were discussing before the stream today.
Yeah.
And so the text that goes with it: you win some, you ransom. So it's an 8 mana 8/8 with Battlecry. And so can you talk a bit about the plunder? What is the plunder?
So you get 3 options, it looks like, to plunder your opponent. You can either take 5 cards from your opponent's deck. I don't know if that means take them into your hand or just shuffle them into your deck. I'm assuming it takes them into your hand. So you can take 5 cards, I'm assuming, from your opponent's deck into your hand, take 2 cards from your opponent's hand into your hand, or take control of the opponent's highest attack minion. The more I think about this and like looking at effects, the less I feel like it's actually going to be as good as I wanted it to. And I know we had the rogue deck that you had, or the pirate rogue deck that had this in it. You never had the opportunity to actually activate it and see how it worked. I think the biggest question about take their gold, taking 2 cards from your opponent's hand, is: are they random? Are they discovered? Or do you get to see your opponent's hand and just choose which ones you want? I'm assuming it's random. Similarly to like take 5 cards from your opponent's deck is definitely going to be random. You're not going to get to look at your opponent's deck and pick which 5. So it's, as Stefanovic said in chat, counter Kazakhstan. I unfortunately don't know that it really does counter Kazakhstan. Maybe after they play Kazakhstan, if you play this and then take half of their Kazakhstan cards, that would be pretty strong. But I don't know if it's strong enough, because then you're letting your opponent still get priority with the Kazakhstan cards afterwards, and you're not really answering the 8/8 either. So if Kazakhstan isn't a thing, though, this is a pretty strong swing card. 8 mana, 8/8, draw 5.
100%.
Especially 5 of your opponent's cards. You know, this almost effectively is a mill strategy as well, because it's like Ticketus, but you get the cards in your hand instead of removing them from the game.
And you don't need to corrupt it.
You don't need to corrupt it. Now, you do need to summon 8 other pirates, which is possibly just as challenging, and it does cost 2 more. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's like a mill pirate rogue that just plays this with Bran. Well, I don't know how you get it with Bran with the discount. You'd have to find somewhere to discount the cards. But I think Octobot's still in the meta, so you can get the discount there, and then brand and do this and steal 10 cards from your opponent's deck, or 4 cards from their hand.
That's
Or
a
worst
lot.
case, take their giant minion. This card looks like it's going to be so much fun to play. Probably going to feel so bad to play against, but it's going to be a lot of fun to play. I'm excited for it.
I agree. And then we have the Vessel, which I've played once.
Yeah.
It was a bit difficult to play since it's a 5 mana spell. During theory crafting, but Asharan Vessel, summon 2/3/3 pirate with stealth, put a Sunken Vessel on the bottom of your deck. So, this is a pink card that costs 5. I think it's good because of stealth, so you can like have it's a bit like having some things that your opponent can touch until the next turn. So when they're at low health, this could be very useful. But it was a bit hard to play when I tried to include it.
Yeah. It just kind of goes back to what we were talking about before with like power creep. We were looking at a hunter card that's 3 mana summon 2/3/3s. This is 5 mana summon 2/3/3s. So you're summoning the same stats but 2 turns behind. Now, the Sunken Vessel is a 5 mana cast when drawn that summons 2/3/3 pirates with stealth. So if you could effectively dredge that up right away, 5 mana summon 4 3/3 pirates with stealth is pretty strong. 5 mana 12/12 stealth. I would definitely see that played a lot. With Gone Fishing, where you can guarantee the dredge and then combo into draw it on, let's say on turn 6, you go Asheron Vessel, Gone Fishing, draw the cast when drawn spell. That's pretty good for turn 6. I'd be fine spending 6 mana to summon 4 3/3s with stealth. Unfortunately, that leads right into Flame Strike or some other board clear, so they're not exactly the most steady to keep on board. And this is the card that I was talking about with Swordfish, where you don't really want to dredge this up with Swordfish because it's not a pirate, so you don't end up getting the pirate bonus for that. So there is some other dredge effects, dredge mechanics in Pirate Rogue that I think do fit in with this. I think if you're playing the Hook Tusk Legendary, you probably end up playing these, but it's as you found, it's a little difficult to actually pull off.
Yeah. Okay, now we go to the other legendary that was added to Rogue with the new expansion, Krakatoa. So it's a Colossal Minion +2. Your Krakatoa claws have +2 attack. It's a 6 mana 6/5, so it's a huge minion for turn 6 with these 2 little babies. It's gonna be pretty strong. Are we gonna be able to play it? It's a beast. Is there synergy with Rogue with beast? That is something that I'm not sure about, but what do you think?
Well, the first thing to really note is what the claws are. So you're going to get 2 claws alongside this, which are, they're 2/1s with rush, and they have Death Rattle, equip a 2/1 Krakatoa claw weapon. All right, it's a 2/1 claw, but I believe the weapons are, yeah, it is a Krakatoa claw. So it's kind of an awkward timing thing on how you want to go about it, but you play this, you get a pair of 2/1 rushes, so they're 4/1 rushes because this buffs them. So you attack with 1, clear it to clear something. You equip a 2/1 Krakatoa claw weapon that gets buffed. It's 2 attacks, so it's a 4/1 weapon. You use the weapon to either go face or clear something else, and then when you trigger your other minion in, it equips another 2/1 weapon. So you're just going to have to be careful with the timing of it, because if you trade both minions in, you just overwrite the weapons that they create. But this is insane stats otherwise. 6 mana, 6/5, deal 12 damage, equip a 4/1 weapon. This is, you're going to see this in every Rogue deck. And this is where talking about like 6-drops are concerned. You've got Blood in the Water, which was 6 mana, like deal 8. This is 6 mana, deal 12, and keep, 4/1 and 6/5 of stats on the board. You're always going to want to Krakatoa over Blood in the Water. This card's nuts. This might be the best Colossal card. I definitely think you'll see this played. Even though it's a beast, it's not a pirate. It's going to be in Pirate Rogue. It's going to be in any Rogue deck.
I'm excited to see and get the chance to play it.
Yeah.
So now we get to the other card, Cutlass Courier. A 3 mana 2/5 pirate. After your hero attacks, draw a pirate. So I've seen this card a lot in theory crafting. So I think that to have a new pirate, its stats are decent. I think this card is good. It may be a cutlass, but you can cut lads with it too. That's the text that goes with it. So yeah, what do you think?
I think this card is fantastic in Rogue because you're guaranteed to have a weapon. Like, even if you play this on turn 3 with nothing to do on turn 4, you just weapon up and draw a pirate. Great stats. It's probably better stats than you'd ever want on a 3-drop. Like, normally the classic Spider Tank 3/4 is what you're looking for. But something like this with 5 health, where it's most likely going to survive turn 3, regardless of what your opponent does, and guarantees you a draw. Yeah, it's like this whole deck. I'm so excited to get to play. I think it's just gonna be so much fun. I hope it's competitive because it looks like a blast.
I agree. So last card for Rogue, Bootstrap, Sunken. So it's a 5 mana 4/4 parrot combo. Put an enemy minion at the bottom of your opponent deck. So that is very interesting, especially if someone does have the sunken mechanism, the dredge mechanism. Sorry. But I mean, it's a 5-cost parrot, so we don't usually play parrots that high cost, but it can definitely be interesting for like some cool meme deck. Part of the deck, part of the crew. So that is the text that goes with it. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think as you said, like the problem right now is just 5 mana 4/4 that requires combo to activate. Probably too expensive for it to be worth it. Putting it at the bottom of your opponent's deck is definitely strong, but it gets hard countered by pretty much any deck that's running Dredge, and most people are going to be trying to run Dredge. Most decks in general are going to run Dredge, even if they're not based around it, because it's just a useful mechanic to have. So if you have the space to play a card with Dredge, you're going to play it. Now, it also, like, because it doesn't destroy the minion, because it puts it at the bottom of your opponent's deck, that can be both a positive and a negative. So, like, really bad against Kazakhstan. If they've played Kazakhstan, destroyed their deck, added their Kazakhstan spells, and then you add their Kazakhstan back into the deck so they get to do it again to you, probably not so good. Whereas against Res Priest, where you're not putting the minion into the res pool, way better than actually being able to destroy the minion. Yeah, as Phoenix is saying, similar to like Vile Spine Slayer, this can't target your own minions too, unfortunately. It's put an enemy minion on the bottom of your opponent's deck. So yeah, you can't shuffle in a Tiny Fin or anything. I don't expect this to really see play. There's just better pirates you'd rather be playing on turn 5 than a 5 mana 4/4. And you can't even play this on turn 5 because you need to combo it with something else. So I'm imagining you never saw anybody playing this during the theory crafting.
I've never, no one played it. Well, playing against me, there was no one.
It'll be a great arena card.
Yeah. But not very much. I doubt we're going to see it in standard. Bebop Trippin, thank you so much for the follow. I really appreciate that. Okay, so I see the time and I'm like, are we gonna have the chance to go over all of them? Um,
We may have to split this up, or
well, one thing that we need to do today is to rank the colossal minions. So why don't we do this now with
okay.
the other colossal we haven't done?
So we can review them and go through and rank them.
Yeah. So now one that we didn't see is this one. Okay. Kolok, the druid one. So it's a 7 mana 6/5, a beast. It's a colossal immune while you control shellac shell. And that I've seen it played in theory crafting.
Yeah.
And yes, so it would, especially the Kolok shell is a taunt. And you gained 8 armor. That was pretty strong. Yeah, that was a good minion in tier crafting. So what do you think about it?
So cards with immune are always pretty dangerous because they can be very difficult to remove. So if you don't have targeted removal, if you don't have something outside of targeted removal, yeah, I mean, it's just quickly, the shell is a 5 mana 0/8 taunt that death rattles to give you 8 armor. So pretty much you're playing this and hiding it behind the giant shell, and then you're just getting 6 immune attack every turn. And then even if they get through the shell, you're gaining 8 armor, and then you still have the 6/5 to be dealt with anyway.
It's
So
pretty good.
pretty decent. Druid is definitely taking a hit this expansion because you're losing a lot of the ramp. So the big Druid is going to be a little weaker than it was. And for 7 mana, for a 6/5, it is immune, but I don't know that that's strong enough to really make this consistent in standard. But it's not bad. It's definitely like middle of the pack, I would say. It's not super like win the game, like, you know, Kravatoa felt. But I definitely think this sees play, at least in like a... If you're playing Ramp Druid, you probably throw this in. But again, like, you know, compared to the minions that Ramp Druid was running, which were Kazakhstan and Raid Boss Onyxia, like, this doesn't hold a candle to either of those. You play this on 7, and then they go, you know, Enervate Raid Boss Onyxia on 8. They clear your Kolok shell with the 8/8 and just clear this down. It doesn't really do too much. So it's probably like the 30th card in a Druid deck if it makes the cut.
So a laser god, what does colossal +1 mean? So +1 means it's the number of buddy he has. So so that means the Kalak, when it summon his buddy, it's only one buddy, and the buddy is the colloquial shell, and it's a taunt that gain 8 armor.
Yeah, it's a 5 mana 0/8 taunt that gains death rattle, gain 8 armor. Part of the problem with Kalak as well, like at 7 mana, doesn't really synergize with some of the other beast cards. Like, I would love to see this statted a little smaller and be at 5 mana. And even though this card's rotating out, like, to be able to play with guardian animals where you can get some fun synergy off of it, and then like you summon it with guardian animals, you get the shell. If you could cheat this card out early, maybe it'd be a little better. But at 7 mana, it just feels too expensive.
So now that brings us to the Warlock. Colossal, sorry. I always
Colloquial.
Yeah. So the Warlock one, which is the Gigafin, and that is something we've seen a lot play in tier crafting, and it was so fun to play this card. This was like the game is going super well with your opponent, and then you play this and everyone's like, what is going on? it's a oh my god card.
Yeah.
I really liked playing it. It was really, really fun.
Yeah, no, Gigafin is very powerful.
I loved it.
So Gigafin's Colossal Piece, which is Gigafin's Maw, is a 6-mana 4/7 taunt, and it death rattles and permanently destroys all minions inside Gigafin. And so Gigafin wipes your opponent's board when you play it. So it's Twisting Nether on a 7/4 body. That also adds in a 4/7 taunt that permanently wipes all of those cards.
This is so powerful.
So, I mean, this card's insane. Like, you get the board wipe, you're putting 11/11 worth of stats on the board, and even if they manage to clear this half of the Gigafin and get their minions back, you still have the 4/7 taunt anyway. Plus, it's a Murloc, which makes it very useful in the Murloc synergy. So for Murloc Warlock.
I'm so excited to play Murloc Warlock.
Me too. That's
And
why I was like,
we should
need
say
a big one in this
Murloc.
deck.
It's like Lock and Murloc, so it's Murloc actually.
Yep. And then there's synergies with this in general. Like, you can play Gigafin and intentionally destroy your Gigafin's Maw right away just to make sure everything gets wiped. Which Warlock always has self-sacrifice cards. This looks like a fantastically fun card to play.
I loved playing
when,
it. I loved playing it. This was like a fun card, like a card where you're like, wow, this is like really refreshing.
Yeah, it is important to note though, while we talked about Colossal taking effect regardless of where it comes into play, it's still Battle Cry, devour all enemy minions. So if they dirty rat this, you get the Gigafin's Maw, but you don't get to wipe your opponent's board. But yeah, no, this definitely tier 1. Like, you'll see this in any control Warlock deck. It doesn't even have to be like Murloc. It can be, any control Warlock is going to run this better than Twisting Nether ever was.
It's a really fun card, definitely. Let's go to neutral.
Just quickly, yes, like I got the Death Rattle minions will trigger their effects when eaten. So it's not a silence effect. It does still trigger Death Rattles. There aren't any neutral Colossal cards outside of Ambassador Phelan that shuffles them in.
That's what I was looking for. Okay, yeah, no, so you're right. It's not a colossal card per se. So I'm gonna move. Okay, so then let's go to Paladini. So the Leviathan. So it's a 7-mana 4/5 colossal. It's a mech. So the return of the mechs. So it's Rush, Divine Shield, after this attack, Dredge. So there's lots of things going on with this card. And so the Colossal, so the buddy that goes with this card is a 3-mana 4/2, Rush, Divine Shield, after this attack, draw a card. So there's so many things going on when you play that card. You really need to think about, like, it's a mess. I feel it's like two. There's like a ping pong going on.
Yeah. So it's a lot stronger than it looks, and it looks pretty strong. But the two biggest keys are both halves have Divine Shield, so it's 7 mana, deal 8 damage, and put 8/7 worth of stats on the board. So you're guaranteed to clear probably at least 1, if not 2 minions, and keep yours still alive. And then you get this synergy between the two of these, where you get this half, when this attacks, you get to dredge. And then the other half, when it attacks, you draw a card, so you can draw the card you dredge to the top. Which is typically what the goal is you're looking to dredge something and then draw it right away. In addition, like if you play this once, you get the 2 clears and the card draw. That's already insane value. If these survive, which they're going to survive the attacks and clear your opponent's board, so now your opponent has to find removal for this. If either half survives, that's incredible. You're either getting an extra card draw, getting an extra dredge, or getting both of them. Yeah, I mean, this Mech Paladin looks strong. This card looks insane. Similarly, like, this feels like you just play it in any Paladin deck. You're never sad to draw this.
I agree.
Now, it's not quite win the game like Krakatoa, where like this allows you to stabilize and cycle. It doesn't really push as much damage on board as Krakatoa does, but it's probably just like one step below them.
So that brings us to the warrior one, Lady Ashvan. So it says 5 mana, 5/5. Battle cry. Give all weapons in your hand, deck, and battlefield +1/+1. So this card is interesting. Oh no,
Not the
it's
colossal one though.
oh, I didn't click on the right one. Sorry guys, sorry. But it's an interesting card.
Yeah,
It's a very
sadly, spoiler, not very good,
sorry guys.
but still
So
interesting.
the colossal card for the warrior decks are Nelly the Great Treasure. So I love that they called it Nelly. And it's like a big dinosaur beast. Um, so discover three but battle cry. Discover 3 pirates to crew Nelly's ship. So it's a 7 mana 5/5. And so what does crew Nelly's ships means? Um, so the buddy that goes with it, that rattle, add Nelly's pirate crew to your hand and they cost 1. So you get it to your hand and you need to like crew the ship. So yes, what do you think about this card?
So it's great value, in a sense. You're 7 mana, 7/11 worth of stats on board, which is already very strong. And then you're getting a 2/6 taunt, death rattles, it adds 3 pirates to your hand, they cost 1. With Smite in the rotation, like in the meta, that's pretty insane. That's pretty much like it's 7 mana. When this dies, add win the game to your hand, because you're almost certainly going to be bursting for, I don't know, 10-15 damage from your hand for 3 mana. Good or important to note, I don't know if it was spoken about on your stream or not, but you cannot discover the same pirate twice from Nelly's crew. So you can't get 3 Mr. Smites. Thankfully, because no one wants to see that happen. But
that would be pretty toxic. The odds
of getting one of them. So yeah, I mean, this definitely goes in any control warrior deck. I don't know if it goes into pirate warrior. I think it's a little too slow for pirate warrior because it's not a pirate. So you're usually getting the quest out by turn 7, which is about as strong as this. But yeah, I mean, in any control warrior deck, you auto include this just for the extra value out of it. It feels more mid-range, or not a mid-range, like mid-tier, in the sense that like it's requires you to have a viable control warrior deck, and that's really the only deck I see this being played in. Whereas something like Krakatoa just feels like you just stick it in any rogue deck because you're never sad to draw it. This, yeah, I mean, it's fine to play on turn 7, but like the 2/6 is a little scary stats-wise. There's some priest cards historically that can steal 2 mana cards or 2 attack cards. It's susceptible to silence. So if they silence Nelly's pirate ship, then it's just a 7 mana 5/5, which isn't great. But yeah, overall, like it's definitely playable, and I would expect you'll see it at some point. But I don't think it's meta defining by any sense. It's probably again in that mid-tier range. Depends on how strong control warrior is.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so now we are at priest. Blackwater Behemoth. Colossal +1 lifesteal. It's an 8 mana 8/10. And so the buddy that comes with it, at the end of your turn, force a random enemy minion to attack the Blackwater Behemoth. So I did see people play this against me. And it's because it's lifesteal and it's at the end of your turn, like at one point he had almost no health, but like you force your minion to go into it. So like it literally, like you automatically gain 8 8 life with this minion when you play it.
Yeah. It's I don't know. I looking at it, it doesn't feel like it's that great.
But
Um,
it did feel great in theory crafting though.
yeah, it's if the meta is more mid range, it's going to be a lot stronger because you're probably going to be removing a decently statted minion and stabilizing a little bit. So 8 mana, destroy your opponent's minion, gain 8 health, and stick an 8/5 and a 1/4 on board. Not too bad. If you get it activated twice, it's really strong. But it's kind of deck dependent. So how much is a control priest going to be viable? Because that's really the only deck you can play this in as well as control priest. You're not going to play it in any aggro deck. It's not much of a finisher. 8 mana, 8/10 is still pretty good stats. Does gain you the lifesteal, doesn't have taunt, so it's not like it protects you. You don't get to choose the minion it attacks, so you run the risk of it hitting a divine shield. If Mech Paladin is strong, this card's terrible because they're all going to have divine shield, and it's just going to bump and not gain you anything.
Yeah.
So you can't really spend 8 mana and then hope it actually hits the right target. The buddy being a small statted card isn't too big of a deal because you only really want it to activate once. You're playing it to remove your opponent's big threat and gain some health back. Then the second time around, you're probably trading this in anyway, so by the time you get a second attack off of it, unless you have the option to go face and remove one card, it is nice if your opponent doesn't have an answer to it, and then they can't really play a minion their next turn because you just know at the end of your next turn it's going to get eaten by the behemoth. If you have ways to heal this gets even better. I think it's on the lower end of the spectrum, but I was seeing people say that this was the worst of the Colossal Minions, and I don't think it's that bad per se. I think with mid range comes control, so you're going to see Control Warrior, you're going to see Control Priest, and this will definitely be included in it. It reminds me a bit of the Priest Prime that saw play on occasion. That was the 6/8 taunt, lifesteal, can't be targeted. Kind of the same thing, except you don't have to go through the process of getting your 1/3 killed and then drawing it back out of the deck. And it's fantastic in Res Priest. Keep getting this back, clearing your opponent's minion, healing back up over and over and over again. So, yeah, it's not terrible. It's definitely playable, but I don't think it's tier 1, or maybe even not tier 2.
So that brings us to the Colossal Minion for Demon Hunter, which is Xillag of the Abyss. And it's a 7 mana 3/6, so it looks like it's low stats. At the start of your turn, increase the damage of Xillad's stalk by 1, but it's Colossal +4, okay? And so there's 4 buddies that come with this guy. And so it increased the damage that the little buddies do. I kind of feel that this card is like a dual card. It's like, what is it doing in standard? Like, what?
Yeah.
This looks pretty intense.
Yeah, it's similarly
So just
effect.
to give you the stocks do so everyone knows what we're talking about. At the end of your turn, deal 1 damage to a random enemy, and so this big guy boosts what the other guys are doing, the 4 little buddies. So it's kind of like a really intense card because it can make lots and lots of damage with the 4 little buddies.
Yeah, it can definitely spiral out of control if your opponent doesn't have an answer for it. But as Phoenix is pointing out, the problem is they're just so tiny. They're 1/2s, so pretty much any board clear wipes them. So you're effectively playing a 7 mana 3/6 deal 4 random damage, which just isn't worth it at all. I think this actually is the worst Colossal Minion. It's just you've got Blackthorn, or it's not Black. What's the 7 mana 4/6 that summons all the Death Rattle minions from your deck? Is it Blackthorn? Death Speaker Blackthorn, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that's a 7-mana 4/6 that does way more than this ever will. And this doesn't really synergize with anything. It's not like there's Demon Hunter cards that buff the stocks. Um, if you could cheat this out early, would it be good? I mean, maybe. Like if you play this on turn 5 mana 3/6 summon 4/1/2s. But even then, then Mage just goes turn 6 Blizzard and all your 1/2s are gone anyway.
But that's the thing. That's why like I felt it was like a dual cards, like some kind of like a priest that like do little like 0/1 steal 1 health from your opponent. Like it does feel a bit like that. It can get out of control, but I do agree with you. It's definitely not my favorite colossal card. And one thing that is bad is it's a demon. It's a 7 mana 3/6, and like so it's in the demon pool, and like you're always happy to get a 7 mana demon, but then when it's a 3/6, it's a bit devastating.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't like. Does this get played at 5 mana? Maybe, but at 7 mana, this is never getting played. There's no. It's just way too slow, which sucks because it's such a cool concept. Like I like the idea and the flavor of it, and like you said, it reminds you of Shadow Word Void from duels where you're stealing minion. If the stocks did that, if they had the steal effect, like deal 1 damage to a random enemy or like steal 1 health from a random enemy, that would be awesome. That would 100% make this playable because you get 4, and it's stats. Like one number in stats makes so much of a difference. Whereas the stocks at 1/3s versus 1/2s, there's so much board wipe in the meta now that does 2 to all, but 3 to all is a lot tougher. So if these stocks survive 1 turn, then all of a sudden, yeah, now you're dealing 8 damage and stealing 8 health. That'd be crazy. I would love to see that card. This would be tier 1 easily. Not super overpowered, but definitely, win the game oriented. Yeah, it's that one little tweak that they needed to push this card over the top, which I guess, didn't happen. So now it just gets to sit at the bottom of the barrel or the bottom of the ocean.
So we can dredge it at one point
Yeah.
with the devs.
Well, you can discover it with your dredge and then choose one of the other 2 cards when you realize you don't actually want to draw this one.
No, but I was saying like in more in real life, dredge it to make it better. Okay, so now it brings us to the mage one, which is the mech, the return of the mech. And this graphic really made me think of like the spell damage mech that we had like back in the days. I don't know, I felt it was like a similar visual to it. So it's an 8 mana 5/7. So Gaia the Tectonic. I mean, I was like very surprised when I saw this term. Colossal +2, so 2 little buddies. After a friendly mech attack, deal 1 damage to all enemy. And so the buddies are 3 mana 2/3 rush mech. So there's the 2 little buddies that are summoned with this card. So it has a really good synergy with mech mage that we're probably gonna see in play just because they're making a comeback. What do you think?
Yeah, I forgot. Mech Mage is definitely something that I'm really excited to play as well. I always love mech synergy, and this is a perfect example of like this card effectively is 8 mana 5/7 consecration. So comparing it to Zillag, you're gonna just play Gaia at the Tectonic and clear all of the stocks because they've got rush. The Gaia's drills have rush, and then you're gonna deal 2 damage to everything. If you have any mechs on the board when you play this, it's insanely powerful. It's like Flame Strike on a stick. So yeah, this card, if Mech Mage is a thing, absolutely gets played. And even if Mech Mage isn't a thing, if some sort of like mid-range or control mage is a thing, this still gives you an 8 mana 5/7 that consecrations, and gets to deal 2 extra damage to 2 targets. So you're almost certainly clearing a decent chunk of your opponent's board the turn you play this, and you get to keep a 5/7 on top of it.
So the text that goes with it, always planning ahead. Ini, so the new battleground hero, knew she'd need this invention to protect all her other inventions.
And like the mech mage deck that we were kind of fooling around with in the theory crafting kind of feels like there's potential for OTK or some kind of big burst damage turn where you discount the mechs in your hand repeatedly, and then you get to play this and all of your cheap mechs in the same turn and just do a whole bunch of damage really quick. Yeah, I mean, this feels like outside of a combo oriented deck, it doesn't feel game breaking. It's not going to win you the game, but if you're it does feel it. Unfortunately, cards like this do feel like a bit of a win more card where you already have to have a board full of mechs for this to be successful. So if you've got 3 mechs on board, you play this, you attack with your 3 mechs that deals 3 to all enemies, then the rush ones probably kill whatever's left. So at states where the board is even, this is that card that pushes you ahead, but it's not going to win the game on its own. And it's decent but not amazing when you're behind. So it's definitely upper tier, not tier 1, but like similarly like 1A. I'd probably like so far out of the ones that we have, I'd probably say it's like the 5th best. Behind like Rogue, Hunter, Warlock, and Paladin. Those seem kind of like...
Yeah, I agree. Okay, now we get to the last one. The last Colossal one. It's the Shaman one. Gluck the Gulper. It's a 7 mana 3/5. So at first sight, it looks like low stat. But Colossal, it's +3. So it has 3 little buddies. After a friendly minion dies, gain its original attack. So when you see the little buddies, it's 2/2 taunts. So it summoned 3 2/2 taunts. And also, thank you for the follow, Daret and Afax. Thank you, guys. So yes, what... And okay, let me read the text. Food can be scarce in the abyssal depth, leading its predator to pursue any potential source of sustenance, even extra crunchy ones. And that is my favorite part, the crunchy part.
Yeah, I
Drakon Nikus, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that.
I don't know what to make of this card. The most interesting thing about this card, honestly, is why its original stat. Like, what world did they play test this and go, well, if it gains its actual stats, it's going to be too powerful? And I'm like, there probably was something that they found that was like, no, we got to specifically phrase this as original stats. So if you buff it with something else, you're not going to get that. It really doesn't seem that great. The taunts protect it. So it's a 7 mana 9/11, which is decent body, but like it's got really no other effective ability, and any targeted removal that deals 5 damage just kills it. So yeah, they get left with the 3/2/2 taunts, but turn 7 doesn't really do too much. Now, again, it kind of feeds back into that win more concept where if you play this and you have minions on board and then you trade those friendly minions in, you can buff this up a bunch. But if you're already ahead on board, why would you want to trade your minions in? And even if you do, you're just getting one giant minion that like gets assassinated or executed or big game hunter. Like there's just so many ways to kill a big minion at this point. It seems so weak. It is pretty much tied for me with Zillig as like the 2 Colossal Minions that I just don't ever expect to see any play. I don't know why you would ever want to play this on turn 7 and how it would synergize with anything. If you can make it untargetable, if it had like taunt or lifesteal or something else on top of it to help it out, but it's very rare that minions whose only ability is its stats ever really dominate a meta.
I agree. I agree. So are, are we able? So I wanted to try something with chat. Are we able to have 10 choice for a poll in chat?
Maybe. I feel like there's a max and it's like 5 or 6, unfortunately. But I'm not on mobile for once, so I can actually,
Try.
yeah. No, it's just 5 options.
Okay. So
I mean, if you want, did you want to ask like what they thought was the best one?
yeah.
I mean, we can. There's 5 that are clearly better than the other 5, so like, I could list those.
Okay, let's do it.
I mean, I guess we could even do like 4 and then other if we don't think it's the top 4. So
I agree. Let's do that. Let's do that.
yeah, let's do that because the top 4 are pretty clear.
Thank you so much for the follow, Kawius. I really appreciate this. And Draconicus. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate
Like,
that.
there's that one A group that maybe in a very specific meta find play, but it's really like Hydralodon, Leviathan, Krakatoa, and Gigafin.
Oh, thank you so much for the follow. Tyron Song. I really appreciate that.
Colossal Minion, do you think will be the best?
Is my mom here? Is Queen Mother here? Ah, yes, she is. Hi, Mom. She just sent me a picture of the wine she's drinking. It looks delicious.
Did that work?
Does
I
it
feel like
work?
it did work.
It does.
Also,
Please vote, guys. Which one do you
it work?
think is
Okay.
the best one?
My browser just asked me if I wanted to save the autofill for all of those selections because I'm going to be making that poll so many times. Also, for some reason, it's just not even showing up for me. So hold on one sec. Need to refresh your stream. There we go.
Two. It's always yes, the answer to that, laser gun. No need for poll. No need for poll.
The nice thing about these Colossal Minions is they, almost all of them, outside of those 2 that we said, all of them look, even if it's bad, like Zillag, still kind of looks fun to play. I mean, the last one, the Gulag, or which one, Glug, that one just looks awful. I don't even think I'd have fun playing it. But they all look fun to play, and none of them really feel too broken. I don't really see any of them being like, hey, like, we just auto-win when we play this. Krakatoa being possibly the closest just because it pushes so many stats so fast. Hydralodon in a similar way, like, pushes so much stats on the board so quickly. But I'm excited to get to try them out.
Me too, me too.
I say that and I have to go grind Arena to get all of them, so I'm excited to try them out in 3 months, but I'll be living vicariously through you on your streams, Heart Queen.
We will play together, so we will get a chance to play them.
True. Very true. People are pretty big on Hydralodon, though. Understandably, like, I think it looks like it's got the best support of any of the well, I don't know, I haven't really explored Mech Paladin enough to know how good that deck is going to be and how well Leviathan synergizes with it. Just giving Hunter the ability to press advantage like that, though, where give him a board clear and then just a ton of board behind it. I feel like you're going to be seeing a lot of turn 5 Hydrolodons, and you're going to sit there and go, well, I think I lose now. Which one are you most excited to play with in the upcoming expansion? Apart from Gigafin, which we already know.
Gigafin. Gigafin is like my babe. I don't know. I feel we have such a connection. It's difficult for me to not pick Gigafin. Giga. He's so cute. I don't know. I have such a connection with him. Might be my season boyfriend.
I was about to say Mancrake's replacement.
Well, Mancrake is my husband. Gigafin can be my
Fair.
my boyfriend.
Seasonal boyfriend.
My seasonal boyfriend, yes.
No, it's when we were working on building the decks, like in Murloc Warlock, looking at this card, just like, I can't wait to see this card get played.
No one is voting for Gigafin. I'm gonna vote for him. Guys, you need to vote.
I'm surprised Kravatoa didn't get more votes. That, I still think, like, I guess Hydrolodon, like I said, because of the synergy that it has, and maybe Leviathan as well because of the synergy it has, I can see getting more votes, but Kravatoa looks the scariest. That card is just so strong. It's like a better Jandis.
Oh,
for what it's worth.
Gigafin is making a comeback. Gigafin is making a comeback, guys.
I'd be fascinated to know, for the 2 other votes, which other one people were thinking.
Yeah, I agree. People that voted other, what was the other one that you guys think?
What could it be? I mean, if people think Priest is the best, then I guess maybe. Like, that kind of goes down to, like, what do you think is the best deck upcoming? If it's mid-range or control. If it's control, then it's like Control Warrior, Control Priest. You're probably leaning towards one of those. Yeah, similarly, as Kawhi's just said, the mech one, if you can get that good mech reduction synergy. And I guess if you want to go look at the neutral Ambassador Phelan, we could talk a little bit about that and how it may play in.
Okay, yeah, let's go and talk about this guy. Okay. Ambassador Phelan. So, Battlecry, put 3 Colossal Minion on the bottom of your deck. So, it's random.
It is random.
I'm guessing. It's a 4 mana, 4/5. It's a really cool card. It looks like a battleground card. Because of the new hero.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this card's going to be a lot of fun to play. It reminds me of the Warlock one that shuffled the primes into your deck. And there's this trade-off between the dredge synergy where you shuffle them to the bottom of your deck and then in theory you can dredge them up so you can have access to them faster versus just shuffling them to your deck in general, and then you could potentially just top deck them the next turn without having to do anything additional. Valen definitely has an advantage in that it's a battle cry effect, so you don't have to wait for the minion to die in order for it to take effect. And 4 mana 4/5 is a perfectly reasonable stat line, so you don't mind playing this on 4 and getting those shuffled in, and then, you know, you get to dredge one up. You don't really get to cheat them out at all, which kind of sucks. So, like, you're still paying the full cost for them, and you don't know which ones you're going to get. That you may end up low rolling, and then they're just kind of weak attempts at draws. But this is an auto include in any control deck. Anytime you can shuffle strong cards in, you almost always see that card included. So I think you're gonna see the rise of control, hopefully, over the next couple expansions. We'll have more mid-range and control again, and those who enjoy that will get to have some fun again.
Arcadian, hello. Yeah, no, for sure. It's gonna be very interesting. I'm very, very happy and excited for the new expansion. So, who? So, so yeah, Hydra Ladon is definitely on top. Gigafin is making a comeback, guys. Gigafin is making a comeback. I'm happy about that.
Yeah, I think you'll see Hydralodon and Krakatoa probably in the first couple weeks of the meta be the most popular, and then like Leviathan right behind them. And then as the meta develops and people start sorting out more control-oriented format, assuming OTK isn't still prevalent, then you might see the cards like Gigafin, Nelly, Gaia, even Kolok pop up a little bit. Yes, the rewards track is going to reset on Tuesday as well. So usually it takes a little while for the meta to develop. I think you'll still see, though, since it's happening midweek, maybe I mean, mid-month, you won't see as much people aggressively trying to hit legend as soon as it rotates. You might have more attempts at control anyway.
So Hydrolodon is the one that won with 32% of votes. Gigafin is 21% of vote and Leviathan 18% tie with Krakatoa. So and other 11%. So that's very interesting. That is very interesting. I'm kind of happy that you guys finally got your sense together and ranked Gigafin second. Finally. Since it's my fave. But I'm very intrigued. Yeah, definitely. I'm excited.
Me too. I am so ready. I don't think I've been more excited for Hearthstone expansion since the game came out, in all honesty. And it's equal parts like the cards look awesome, and I'm just ready for a new style of meta. Like it's not just like, oh my god, I can't wait for this meta to end. Like looking at these cards and like, no, this actually looks like a lot of fun to play, a lot of fun to deck design for. The only scary thing is, you know, because the quests are still in the format, is there going to be a bit of a holdover from them maintaining their grip? And how much does the core set rotation and the card rotation dent their abilities? And I think I think that the rotation is going to be more impactful than it looks like. I think a lot of the quests are going to take a bigger hit than what we really thought they would. Even Kazakhstan, honestly, like I don't think is going to be as prominent as it is right now, because just the ramp for Druid isn't going to be there, and the cycle for Demon Hunter isn't going to be there. So there's still some support for it, but you're going to lose half, and there's really not much incoming support for those strategies. which is why I'm less inclined to, be concerned that they didn't nerf the quest lines or rotate the quest lines. I think that there's enough of a shift to stabilize the meta a little bit. And if not, I'll just play Arena for the next month.
Okay. Well, I think that's gonna be all for our card review. We didn't have time to get through all of them, but we got to really great ones, and I'm glad we had the chance to discuss them. I hope you guys liked it. And thank you so much, Jacob, for being here today and reviewing the cards with me. I appreciate that.
Always happy to be a part of your streams.
Nice. Well, thank you for being here, and thank you guys for being here today. That was really nice. And for the second stream of the day, yeah, that was pretty cool. So, oops, sorry. Let me.
The on-screen mod.
Let me just check these. Okay, so let's continue with the card review with another of my friends doing a card review. So yes, thank you guys for being here today. It was amazing. I really appreciate you being here. We had lots and lots of fun. And yes, I hope to see you tomorrow morning, guys, for PJ and Coffee, 6 a.m. Eastern Time. Who won the giveaway?
Owen.
Owen won the giveaway. Laser God.
Bye, Mom.
Bye, Iris. Thanks, Phoenix. Thanks. So thank you guys for being here today. I really appreciate this. I think we had lots of good inputs. I appreciate you guys voting for which colossal card you like the most. Very interesting to hear your thoughts as well on what you think which card was going to be played most. So I'm very intrigued for Tuesday to start this journey.
Me too.
Yes.
Excited to have some new decks to play and design. We're both getting kind of a fresh start on it because we were busy with Wild instead of Standard, so we have no real insight into how